Redline. I was not prepared for this movie when I found it, and I promise neither are you. This movie is an absolute batshit insane roller coaster that only gets more bonkers as the film goes on. It's hands down one of the most intense, overwhelming, cinematic clusterfucks I've ever watched, and it's fucking glorious. There's cool dudes racing fast cars, machine people, crazy aliens of all shapes and sizes, self-aware dialogue, characters and tropes, crazy light shows, amazing animation, action, drama, romance, war, a boy achieving his dreams. There's people overcoming their weaknesses. There's cool ass weapons and lasers and explosions and freaking guns that shoot 3-foot metal spikes. There's a man who becomes a formless, abstract vagina mouth monster so he can fight a giant nuclear bioweapon monster named Funky Boy. Yeah, this is Redline. A quick little disclaimer before we start the video. I want to preface this with the fact that we're viewing the dub and not the sub.
You watching dub?
Yes?
Oh!
Huh. Alright then. Well, I've watched the sub and we'll touch on some minor differences, but this isn't a hard comparison. So if we reference anything within the movie, we'll be referencing the dub and not the sub. With that being said, let's dive into it. Redline is an animated sci-fi racing film produced by Madhouse Incorporated. It released in October of 2010 and is the directorial debut of one Takeshi Koike. No, that's not right. One Takashi Mikoki. Fuck! One Takashi Kakami. Who the fuck? Of one Takeshi Koike. A couple pre-production notes. The bones of Redline can actually be traced all the way back to a 4-part OVA miniseries called Trava Fist Planet, released between 2001 and 2002. It starred two of what would become side characters in the final movie named Trava and Shinkai. It had them trying to make money to enter a power suit fighting tournament, and some hijinks ensue on the way. It had all the beginnings of the flash and style of the animation that we see present in Redline and most of Koike's work, and interestingly, the character Trava in the miniseries actually exhibited more characteristics of what would become JP in the final movie than what Trava became in the final movie. Also, there was a 5-minute pilot of the movie that aired in 2009, but finding any information on anything but its release date has proven actually rather difficult. He also doesn't have many notable directorial debuts that I could find, but he has done some interesting stuff, like directing a few Lupin the Third movies released post-2014. There are a series of popular movies in Japan that date all the way back to the 70s. The second of which was directed by my personal fave and movie director bae, Hayao Miyazaki, as well as one of the parts of the Animatrix movie, the one with the track runner there, which I think is pretty neat. Other than that, he's had some notable animation jobs, like he did some key animations for Cardcaptor Sakura, which is like this kind of girly anime from the late 90s that's still pretty popular, and he did some frames for Iron Man, like not the live action Iron Man, but this really cool Japanese like stylized Iron Man animated flick. Also the Trigun movie from 2010, and he did an episode of Samurai Champloo, which if you haven't seen that yet, you're probably missing out for like a decade or more. It's a personal favorite of mine. I highly recommend it. And motherfucking Ninja Scroll, which I'm not going to touch on too much because I hope to review that in a future video anyway. The movie took 7 years to make, and it had a rough development cycle due to its massive undertaking. It was intended to be released in 2009 at a film festival, but due to some delays, it got debuted at a different film festival later on, and eventually seeing its full release in Japan in 2010. A couple fun facts: the film has over 100,000 individual frames of drawings, which befuddled those around the fledgling director, because at the time, and even now, that's a massive amount of frames, especially for a directorial debut, let alone any animated film. Sadly, also, this was Daisuke Gori's final work before passing away 8 months prior to its release. He was a Japanese famous voice actor who portrayed a lot of classic voices in Japanese media, including Ninja Scroll and Mr. Satan from Dragon Ball Z. So rest in peace, Mr. Daisuke Gori. Alright, the movie starts off with some nice shots of Planet Dorothy, its scenery and locals, and a father who for some reason in a futuristic, technologically advanced era still doesn't know how to work a basic camera. As the racers zoom by camera dad and onlookers, we're introduced to our first batch of characters.
Kawaii girl.
Show me your moves. Bruh.
Come on!
The last two of which being the only ones that actually matter. So, we see this race unfold, utter chaos ensues, Sanashi goes full crab mode and embraces her aquatic namesake. And we find out a little bit about JP and Frisbee. Turns out he's got a bomb on his car and he's supposed to stay in last until the last lap and get second so the mob can make buku off some betting, and JP needs the money for his bail bondsman so he doesn't go back to jail. The leader of said mob does drugs in the most uncomfortable, unsettling ways, too.
The closer he gets to the finish line. I hope for your sake, Frisbee, that everything's still hunky-dory. What if he's that good? Don't you think he'd forget about our deal and try to win it?
So JP and Sanashi are racing, getting all close to the finish line and shit, tweaking and fishtailing everywhere from that raw speed, baby. And it looks like he's finally gonna place first, and bada bing, bada boom, motherfucking bomb goes off, he crashes major, gets last, bummer.
When you drive this smooth, you save with Allstate. The future of auto insurance is here. You've never been in better hands. Allstate. Click or call for a quote today.
Also, there's this moment in the race where a dude like power slides into like a dozen people and hits them off a cliff. Just fantastic. After the crash, we get some flashback of JP all lil and beat up and some shiny golden ass pimp dude. He hops in this freaking convertible rowboat and does like a split while simultaneously kissing two chicks at once. It's pretty cool. JP's idol, character backstory, shallow storytelling, blah, blah, blah. Still pretty cool though. Fast forward, we get a shot of him watching a TV in a hospital bed, and Frisbee comes in and we get this really odd exchange.
What do you want to talk about?
Nah, you go first.
I can wait. What do you want to say?
Nah, after you.
Nah, after you.
I was just
That
gonna
Trans
say...
Am cost a fortune, didn't it?
I think it's supposed to like symbolize their childhood closeness? I don't know. I don't get it. Well, it was pretty funny though. JP gives the money back because he's emo as fuck or something. He's all like, I don't care, man. So, whatever, man. I'll go back to jail. And then all these like reporters storm in right then and are like, have you seen the fucking news? And they turn on the TV and a Vietnam vet chicken and like the leader of the Trade Federation are on there saying, oh, we're not racing because this place called Robo World is where it's happening. And they put out a PSA like, boy, we gonna fuck any one of you the fuck up if you step on our turf on God. And like the chicken has like PTSD or something, and Viceroy has trade interests. So JP and these two guys, Miki and Todoroki, get picked as replacements through like a popular fan vote. So JP's all like, fuck yeah, Robo World, suck my dick. Redline, here I come. And then we get the like single most interesting scene in the whole movie where we flash to this like super scratchy pen and ink family with like a robot, and they're all sitting around eating dinner at their dining room table, and like all the bowls are floating, and they say this.
Goody, goody! We get to see a bunch of idiots get themselves killed!
Violence is the only thing that gets me hot anymore.
Like, honestly, to this day, I really still don't know like what that was. But I digress. So JP's off to Redline, and he and everyone else that's a part of the race, they launch themselves out of these drop pods down to the surface of Europass. And Europass is this demilitarized zone for refugees on one of Robo World's moons. JP has an existential crisis in the drop pod, and then we get a shot of Robo World and its leaders bitching about the aforementioned refugees and how they shouldn't have given that moon to them, and how they have some top secret shit that they're scared about getting revealed. Voltan, who's like the leader of the military, he just goes off on some fucking like, fucking, are you prepared to fight? Yes, no, you're gonna let that. He just gets all frisky and talks big, and there's some fascist bullshit. We zap back to JP getting harassed by these like tiny ass bird people. They're trying to sell him tickets to the race he's literally driving in, and like when he won't buy them, they're just like, fuck you, and slap the shit out of him with him. And so he goes to the money exchange guy, to get his Skrilla. So the motherfucking dude running the money exchange is like the guy from Rock Bottom.
I can't understand your accent.
And like he gives him some money that actually looks like the food from Titan AE.
Ukrainian beetle sashimi.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm full.
And then when like JP like talks back to him, he just shuts the fucking thing in his face and just closes for the day. So he fucks off and he goes and gets some smokes because the man needs a literal never-ending supply of cigarettes to maintain his ridiculous habit. And the lady that he buys the smokes from, as it turns out, is also batshit crazy. So he gets his half a pack of smokes and he fucks off again. And he gets on this like dank ass hover bike that he seems to just have, and it just matches, and it's just there. He just gets that. And he rides off to go talk to his crew, which consists of Old Man Mole, who's this four-legged old dude that is like their mechanic, and Frisbee, who was the aforementioned guy that's with the mob. So Old Man Mole is all like, "Duh, JP, you're crazy, you're dumb. Frisbee's a scummy little goblin. I'm horny. Here, hold on, fucking, let me spit beer everywhere." Yeah, like, no joke, that's exactly what he says. So then Frisbee rolls up and he's like, "Yo, heard you was talking shit. I might be a scummy little goblin, but fuck you. Also, here, hold this fedora." So they agree to build JP's death machine with no weapons because JP doesn't want to use weapons. And then we go, boom, Oasis time. Now, Oasis is this restaurant, and keep up because a lot happens. So JP crashes Sonashi's private solo dinner, feigns pulling a lethal weapon to seem cool, sexually harasses an employee at their own restaurant, and then tries to hit on the girl that is obviously not interested in him. Also, there's this great line where Sonashi is like, "Okay, you can leave now." And then she like waits a whole 5 seconds and then goes, "Hey, did you know I have daddy issues?" And it's like, I'm not even kidding. And then they talk about mystical magic guffin nitro of the gods or whatever. It's called a steam light. And then we promptly get introduced to Shinkai, who is one of the main Redline racers, or at least one of two. They're a pair. He eats all their food because it's gross as fuck and no one wants it because, you know, it's gross as fuck. And then also tries to commit sexual harassment.
Jeez, Japan, what the hell?
But instead of on employees, on Sonashi. And then we meet Trava, who gets his actual ass beat through the door by little Daizuna. So Trava and Shinkai are a racer team, and Daizuna is from the military of Robo World, and he cries like a whole lot, and he also has some beef with Trava for leaving him in the military. It's pretty much completely unimportant. So Trava gets turned to face pudding, and then Machine Head fucking is like, "Move, trash!" Like, literally. I should do voice acting. Little Daizuna tries to face fuck Machine Head with his foot, but Machine Head is like, "Bitch, you thought?" And right before he's about to send him to another fucking planet with a right hook, Robo World Cavalry rose up. Everyone talks big. Volton extracts some teeth from Daizuna, and JP gets knocked out for saying some useless ass shit, as everyone was literally about to leave. So he wakes up, drives Sonashi home, has a gay ass talk with some sorry. Romance. Okay. She drops her earring on accident, quote unquote. We see you, Sonashi. And then there's a flashback of Sonashi being like, "You guys are pussies, I want to go fast." And like, he goes back to the garage, engine's all dolled up, and they're ready to test drive. Frisbee and JP have some like cryptic exchange about potato chips the next day. And then we see Murder by Liquid Laser. Pretty cool to watch, honestly. Like, just listen to these lasers. Now that that's fresh on your palate, here's some Sonashi topless for the first and only time. We had to censor it. Sorry, boys and girls. You're gonna have to give your local bargain bin $10 to see them hot anime titties. Then we get some TV clips from Redline introducing a few racers, Machine Head, the Super Boeings, which are these like crazy, ridiculous, ironic pop star tropes. Oh yeah, and they just like conduct entire interviews completely naked, I guess. That's to each their own. And Lynchman and Johnny Boya, and who are like, they're basically Batman and Robin if Batman and Robin had a strong passion for homicide. Back to the test car. It's running all smoothly. Ha! Just kidding. Crash number 2, because JP loves crashing. On God. So get the other two Redline racers introduced. Gory Rider. He's a dirty cop who's also a gorilla, and he's the one who's actually played by Daisuke Gori in the Japanese sub.
and then Miki and Todoroki, who are definitely my favorite. They're just ridiculous. I don't even know what they're based on, but I love them. Zoom on over to some random rebellion happening on Robo World, causes the power to go out, and we get introduced to the Hyper Disintegrator Cannon, which is like basically an orbital strike. It's like Robo World tech. Lynchman and Johnny actually go in and disable it, because fuck Robo World, you ain't fucking up this race. And they're hired like bounty hunters or whatever, so they do odd jobs for pay, so they were paid to go disable it. JP drops off Sonashi's earring, fucking crashes again, inconsequential flashback number 3 million, and then Sonashi finds out JP is a no good dirty criminal, apparently from the TV. So on to the race.
As the racers line up, Sonashi is all pissed at JP. And she's bitching him out. He's like, hey, Sonashi. He's like, whatever, bitch. And then like crazy magic supergrass lady, this little lady, this little girl, Queen of Supergrass, she pilots these heart planes to make a starting line.
Actually, because the planet Supergrass invaded Robo-World's air sovereignty with their fighter planes, technically Robo-World's response as a planetary government was justified. In essence, Robo-World did nothing wrong.
Return to your mother's basement, Gerald.
Announcers come on. They're fucking hilarious. It's like this Cube dude and then the original winner of Redline. And Robo-World sends its fucking entire army out, and then the racers get literally dropped the fuck out of the spaceship into an actual war zone. So bullets and lasers and murder ensue. A cockpit in a tit mech suplexes a robot man. JP spins himself like a top with nitro, like he uses the nitro and puts himself into a tailspin, and then just skips his car across water like a skipping stone. Just like all sorts of wacky bullshit happens. And then RoboWorld gets reports of the viewer numbers, and they're massive. So they're like, shit, that's a lot of people watching. We really can't let these secrets get out. So they send out every single unit.
Attention, soldiers of Robo-World! I want all units to suit up, scramble, and intercept the racers at Zone 7X!
Did you mean all units, or just a couple?
When I say all units, that means all! Now move out, goddammit!
Yes, every single one of you! Shit gets intense. Maba somehow does drugs and makes it even more uncomfortable than the last time. Little Dezuna actually joins the race for some reason, and then Gory Rider just plows through into some random underground secret complex and releases Funky Boy. And Funky Boy is a bioweapon. So, and can I just say, he's the best. Like, I love me some Funky Boy. And then they fix the Hyper Disintegrator Cannon and freaking nuke Funky Boy and everyone around. Just like, when all the racers get knocked over and all the, like half their army gets blown up. So all the racers are strewn about, and the announcer chimes in.
I don't believe it! Did you see that? They fired the Hyper Disintegrator Cannon!
Hold on, pause that. What did he just say?
I don't believe it! Did you see that?
They fired the Hyper Disintegrator Cannon!
Yeah, but how would he know what it was called? He's seeing it for the first time. It's new tech to him. Hold on a sec. What if he was the one who hired Lynchman to disable the cannon? What if he's the one who coordinated the Redline location? What if the whole plan all along was to get the race to happen here so he could expose Robo-World's secrets to the world, thereby destroying his enemy while also profiting off their suffering?
You're actually on the right track. What you're forgetting is the Director Deep Dives explained his given birth name was Disquarius Robotnik III, firstborn son of the former president of Robo-World. His origins quickly cut short with the cryptic text stating, if not for the Sony Dynasty coup, he might not be a simple TV announcer. This evidence leads one to reasonably believe he is the rightful ruler of Robo-World, justifying the motives that you've identified. Now this 4chan post...
Anywho, JP is trying to flip his car, but apparently Sonashi is fucking dense and can stop him from doing that just by leaning on it. Whatever. They flippy the car and decide to do it together. Everyone gets back to racing, and Funky Boy regenerated. So now Voltine combines with some like crazy biological AI thing, and the tentacles go all up into his face and nostrils and shit, and then he just becomes whatever the fuck this is. And then he dukes it out with old Funky Boy. And that's it. That's the last of that. So back to the racers. They're racing along. Military like literally just gives up. Like they say, and I quote, "Man, fuck this." So everyone's creeping up on the finish line, intense racing, blah, 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 blah. And like the mob boss is starting to freak out on Frisbee now. Like, blow that shit, blow that bomb, let's get our money. And Frisbee's all like, nah, bro, I want to watch him win just once. I want to watch him win. So like they basically just try to murder him. Like, he just calls in these two dudes and just start beating the piss out of them. And then Old Man Mole comes in out of nowhere.
Watch out, watch out, watch out!
With a freaking motorcycle and shoots the fuck out of everybody with this, like, badass freaking... the spike rifle. He's just being a badass. And so the race continues. We flash back to the race, and Machine Head and JP are neck and neck. And Machine Head whips out his steam head and is all like, "Do it, you won't pussy." I should say, "Do it, you want pussy." And then Sanji's all like, "Bet that ass, B." And then they blast off in a fucking parallel dimension. And it looks like JP's actually going to lose because he's just a little bit, he's losing speed on old Machine Head there. So the old man Mole there he's all drunk and he gets the bright idea. He's like, tee-hee, oops, and just blows the fucking bomb up. So it lights the engine on fire and like rocket propels them to a narrow victory. And then, oh God, here it is. The moment you have all been waiting for. Psych, it's the worst ending ever. It's just, look at this shit. Look at this shit. I will never be over. Koike, you sadistic son of a bitch. Fuck this ending. Wow, guys, wasn't that fun? What a crazy time we just had, didn't we? Well, that's the end, boys and girls. Like, subscribe, send me some money, because I'm broke as fuck. See that bell down there? Crush its hopes and dreams with your finger and or clicker.
Hey, whoa there, Chief. You still gotta score this
Oh yeah, I should probably do that, huh? What metric should we use to rate the categories?
That is not my job!
Alright, you sassy pants. We'll use 1 out of 10 ridiculous hairdos as the scoring system. And now we'll cover the categories. First category will be animation! We'll judge it on smoothness, originality, use of techniques, details, and style. Next will be sound. And my personal favorite thing to talk about with this movie, because man, that mastering, yeesh. Followed by voice acting. Dub! Yeah, dub. Yeah, we're heathens. The dub. I get it. So yeah, voice acting. Self-explanatory. And the last one will be writing / the differences in translation. Now that that's out of the way, let's start with the animation. I'm gonna give this movie a solid, drum roll please, 8.5. It is one of the most beautifully animated movies I've ever seen. It just doesn't stand toe-to-toe with titans like Akira, or pretty much anything by Miyazaki. It gives them a good fight though. Stylistically, it's the top 3 ever made. If nothing else, this movie is stylish as hell. They didn't break any boundaries with the scenery or backdrops, but they're all still amazing to look at. From the cities bustling with life, to the off-track betting posts, to the militaristic bioorganic compounds of RoboWorld, there's really no shortage of gorgeous scenery. It's just not where all the focus went. All the focus went into the animation, and it went to motion, speed, and the characters. So, sadly, a lot of these beautifully filled worlds and towns get pushed to the back burner during the bulk of the movie. But man, when I tell you I have never seen motion animated so profoundly, I really fucking mean it. The way they use warping and line stretching and contortion to achieve these feelings of G-force and forward thrust, it really captures your eye and retains your attention. It makes you feel like you're blasting off riding shotgun with JP. It's this oddly adrenaline-inducing experience quite unlike any other. That's where the focus is, that's where the movie shines, and you can tell that's where the director had the most fun. Alright, next we go to sound! And oh boy, do I have some complaints. Actually, it's pretty much just one complaint, but it's massive and only applies to the dubbed version. The mixing and mastering is about as well done as Sonic Adventure 2. And for those of you who aren't giant man children like me and don't get that reference, take a look at this.
Shadow, what are you doing? Hurry and get back here right now before the island blows up with you on it!
Blows up? Gotta get out of here! Find Amy and Tails! Right away! Now I know what's going on! The military has mistaken me for the likes of you! So, where do you think you're going with that emerald? Say something, you fake hedgehog!
Yeah, that. So basically, music's too loud, voices are too quiet, don't know what happened, but whoever the sound guy was for this movie, specifically doing the dubbed version, deserves to get blacklisted. And for that alone, the sound actually gets a 5, which sucks, because the design and music in this is great. The vehicle noises, the explosion noises, the character theme songs, the mix of genres, all amazing and so on point. I particularly love the sound of Funky Boy shooting his laser. I'm real big on cool noises, and this is easily one of the coolest, which makes it hard for me to dish out that rating. But that egregious error really does ruin the experience. I can't tell you how many times I had to turn up and down the volume or be face fucked by the music only to stick in my hearing aid for the softer dialogue parts. But, I mean, at least the music is pretty bitchin'.
Onward to voice acting!
Okay, honestly, I was pretty damn impressed with the cast. A lot of them sync up with their Japanese voice counterparts, like, surprisingly well. The most notable one being, like, the Robo World commanders. They really lined up with their Japanese voice cast. But the biggest difference actually seems to be JP's voice actor. But for an English dub, the slight change they went for, in my opinion, actually fits the character and the audience they're trying to reach spot on. Like, he's a little, like, in the American one, he's a little more, like, animated and goofy, which it fits. So all in all, the performance and deliveries were well done, with a few notable performances in the dub, and weirdly, it's like the side characters seem to be those notable performances. So like the Redline announcers, the Robo World commanders, Crying Little Daizuna, Lynchman and Johnny Boya, and Mickey and Todoroki, who especially cracked me up. When it comes to the voice acting capturing the personality of the character, there is a couple times in interactions with the main characters where it's likely due to the difficulties of lip-syncing translations and animation, if you know anything about that. They abruptly speak semi-uncharacteristically, like, listen to this.
Yep, I still got my mojo. Even for the ladies. Still a horn dog, oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
And it really breaks that immersion here and there, which sucks, but it's not to be unexpected with translations and foreign films like that, and it's so infrequent, it's not like a major sin or anything, you know, and for that, we'll give it a 7.5. I mean, it is a dub after all.
Alright, on to the last category. The one you've all been waiting for because you've watched the video this far. Writing and translation! And man, I actually am kind of torn on this one. Because on the one hand, it's honestly a very well translated dub. Like, there's not too many major writing or thematic differences. The sub does seem to utilize profanity kind of like a lot more consistently, and it does hold a more serious and semi-gritty tone, whereas the dub seems to gradually ramp up the profanity as the story reaches its apex. Overall, though, it's pretty damn funny. Like, the characters are super well written and flushed out. It's all super self-aware. Like, the allegories are in your face, but with purpose. Like, it's so on the nose, but it's deliberate. And that's what kind of makes it so good. Like, kind of like a dad joke almost. But on the other side, there are these large moments that seem to just drag on, like the romance, which feels so purposeless and kind of tacked on, to be honest. It always brings the high adrenaline pacing down to a grinding halt. Luckily though, it never stays for long or overstays its welcome, and it's usually interrupted right when you're getting sick of it, but like, it's so superfluous. It's so just in there to have a romance. Also, JP's whole backstory. Like, it's important to the story, kind of, but not to the character in a way, but also it is. Like, it feels like it's just shoehorned in to kind of give JP more depth and be like, this is why he's doing this. This is why he's racing. And he's not just trying to be like super cool racer man for no reason. But at the end of the day, that's really all he ends up being. So like, you don't feel any emotional connections to the characters, really. Like, I don't know if you were ever really supposed to, but then why would they bother trying to shove this, like, feel for this character down your throat? Like, it just brings the whole pace of the movie down, and a lot of times it's like contextually confusing. Like, there's just a lot of half-explained fluff that really has no importance to what's going on. Like, when Sonashi crashes and it's the flashback and JP's like, oh, you're doing a great job, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you don't understand. It's like, why are, like, I get it, that's why they're racing. Like, that's their reason to race, and that's why they're ending up together. But it's so corny and poorly written. And man, that fucking ending, oh god, that fucking ending. Like, I don't know, man. I get it. I really get it. I do. I get what they were going for. And if there's one thing I love, it's things that are subversive. But man, that was just not good. Like, not, like, actually top 3 worst endings I have ever seen. I remember I just went, what? The first time I saw it. And because of all of that, sadly, the writing and translation gets a 6.5. It was never, I don't think it's like the main focus. Like, the dialogue is meant to just be funny one-liners and stuff like that. So for that, it does get a commendable score. And now that that's out of the way, we are actually done. So, if you would please like—
Whoa. Hold up now. Is this nigga serious? You really only gonna use 4 categories? Cause like, that's kinda weird.
I mean, yeah, I can't think of a 5th category. So if you got one for me, bub, yeah, go for it. Let her rip. See, not as easy as you think. Okay, we'll go with, I don't know, memeability, I guess. And there's no one better to take this category from me than my boy Zeto here, so I'm gonna let him MC for a little bit. Take it away, friendo. Ow! Why did you crack my knuckles?
Time to obtain the green.
Oh, I knew I shouldn't have smoked DMT before and during the race.
Our next predator goes by the screen name Cherry Boy Hunter. This is her interaction with a 12-year-old boy.
Ain't no telling what I'm finna be on.
Hey, little mama, would you like to be my sunshine?
Stand by to adjust trajectory. On my mark.
What did he just say?
Mark.
Covenant just set off a nuke?
It's a slip-space rupture. Ignition!
EMP, losing power. They popped your chutes. We're going in hard.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head.
Citizens of Robo World, it is I, your Chancellor. We must protect our planet from those who would infringe on its sovereignty. I picture a new galactic order ruled from our world, Robo World.
Get 2 G's on the real. Bitch, niggas trying to do me. Get smoked like that blunt. Oh.
Holy shit, I'm still alive? Good thing Frisbee added all that plot armor. That dang shit.
Oh man, I'm so high. I don't know where I am. What's up?
That shit smells bomb.
It's literally heroin.
Bet, let me get 4. Let me get a hit.
A monster with power beyond imagining! Now I create a dual monster without peer, with attack force so great that no monster can stand against him!
What's up, nigga?
Yeah, like you, me, and everything else. Cigs cost more, and hell, even good junk joints are getting harder to find.
Now look at y'all. You're riding that hog. Yeah. You're riding that hog. You're riding that hog.
Son of a... I didn't think I was gonna need it so soon.
Hey Zeto, look! I found a friggin' funny meme part!
I don't know, dude. This is kind of my thing. I don't know if you're really...
No, it's my video. I get 1 meme contribution.
Alright, hotshot. Let's see it. Oh my god, dude. I swear you're like a Facebook mom. Genuinely surprised there wasn't a minion in there. Where'd you even find that? Are funny? Just go sit down or something.
I'm telling my mom not to let you come over anymore.
Back to the memes.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
That wrapped up in a neat little bow. It's final score time, baby. This movie, like, in essence, like, if I had to break it down into the simplest terms, is a actual ride on a roller coaster. Like, literally. Like, it has these blindingly fast and intense moments, but when it drags, and you are just waiting for that next hill to get that next fix of adrenaline. And it's one of the most eye-catching pieces of cinema, like, I've ever had the pleasure of ocularly digesting. And if nothing else, that is the main reason you should go watch it. If you're looking for a movie with depth, deep characters, this ain't it, Chief. If you're looking for a bombastic flick about fucking fast races and cool places with a colorful cast of faces, I couldn't recommend this movie more. Like, it truly is one of a kind. And you can tell that buckets of love were poured into every millimeter of every frame of that film. And because of that, I'm gonna have to give this movie an overall final score of, one last drum roll please, 8. I'm gonna give it an 8. Because despite some of the audio mixing flaws, it still achieves its goal, and it is well worth a watch. And if the sound is really that much of an issue for you, luckily the sub doesn't have that problem. So hope you have a 4th grade reading level and a pair of good glasses, my friends. So go give Redline a watch and appreciate Koike's masterpiece for what it is. The balls to the wall, gasoline-powered, nitro-boosted brainchild of a man who dreamed and looked up at the stars and said, what if Hot Wheels in space? And then, by God, he actually made that shit! Cheers to you, Koike, you absolute mad lad, and cheers to everyone watching this. Till next time, everyone. Oh, did you want to, like, give your 2 cents on a rating, man? I completely forgot.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.